you would take a lefty over Leanne Barrette, right?
Definitely lane 19 and 20 favored the left-handers. The numbers proved it.
And of course, every pair of lanes is different, and sometimes they favor the left side, sometimes they favor the right. You never really can tell from day to day. It just depends on a lot of times how they condition the lanes, as Tish Johnson opens by tripping out the 6-pin. What's fun about this match is Leanne was the LPBT's Player of the Year, and Tish Johnson was the Bowling Writer Association of America's Bowler of the Year for 1990.
A little grudge match maybe here, huh?
Oh boy, not the way you want to start the championship round.
And this is a look at Tish's opening shot here. She's going to go a little bit high. The head pin comes off the wall and trips the 6-pin forward.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Leanne Barrette with 7 out in the opening frame. And Leanne, during the practice session just prior to the telecast this evening, was joking around saying, I'm really in trouble here. I can't play in and score. Playing out is not the answer. So I'm going to come out and flip a coin during my practice shots to determine where I'm going to play. So she's loose, but she's also lost.
She's been in this position one other time at the U.S. Open, and unfortunately she did not perform very well during that event either on the telecast. So she said, you know, I hope I go out and do better than I did then. And when you open up with the big 4, I'm sure that's going through her mind.
So the next shot is obviously a little bit right of target, and she leaves the 2-pin, but I'd rather shoot the 2 than the big 4.
Leanne actually had the tournament high game this week for all right-handers, 277. Quite a difference from what we saw last week with all the 290-plus games.
And she also had second place locked up until the 42nd game, the position round game, where she promptly went out and shot 146 while Alida Sill shot 250.
It makes a difference when the field is close.
The interesting thing was, though, she said, Denny, I struck on 7 of the 8 practice shots on that pair. So it wasn't the lanes, it was me. I just didn't bowl very well. Tish Johnson a little high on the right-hand lane, breaks up the split, though.
Tish, there you see a little movement of the arm when she comes back. That's what she's concentrating on doing, is actually keeping her elbow in and pointing her arm towards the pocket.
A 13-pin lead in the early stages. The winner takes on Alida Sill. Our top seed this week, Dee Dee Davidson.
Tish ranking 2nd in earnings so far in 1991 with that win earlier this year.
And of course, for those of you keeping track, she was the tour's leading money winner in 1990. As this time she leaves the solid 9-pin. So it's been a variety for Tish Johnson.
Solid 9-pin equal to the solid 8-pin that we've often seen the right-handers lead. And we've been out on tour now for 4 weeks, and the players, Leanne, one of the actually few players that have made all of the finals, all the top 24. So she's bowled a lot of games, probably equal to 70 games or better a week. And it does take a toll on your hands. She's got her fingers all taped up.
And wrist and elbow and shoulder. Not to mention the knees. What's left?
Ask Donna, probably her back, right?
What, it's a lot more difficult, a lot more physically taxing than a lot of people would believe. Try it sometime.
Well, most of the women pros throwing 15 to 16-pound bowling balls.
Now, we're lost in space right now. You go out and you throw the first shot, and you think you throw a pretty good shot, and you leave the big 4. Now you come up and say, okay, I'm going to make a little bit of an adjustment. This lane might be maybe hooking a little bit more, and you make a few board move, and then you throw a Brooklyn shot. So what's going through her mind right now is what happens next?
Well, it's confidence, too. You know, she came out and she really wasn't sure if she wanted to play deep inside or play out a little bit. Now, she's played deep inside pretty much all week. When she bowled her best was the night blocks or the late afternoon blocks when the lanes opened up. She didn't feel like the lanes were opening up here at all for her, so she couldn't really swing it and get it back.
So it's 2 opens and 3 frames, and this is not the kind of performance that one associates with Leanne Barrette, easily one of the stars, young stars of the LPBT Tour.
Leanne's 5th year on tour. She already has 10 titles.
Well, dices them up there and then sticks around to watch because it hasn't happened very often on the championship round pair. We'll be back with more of game number 2 here from New Orleans, Louisiana, after the point of game number 2. She's already defeated Dana Miller-Mackey 224 to 213. And a recap of an outstanding year in 1990. Takes a good look at the thumb. Didn't like that shot when it left her hand.
Now, we mentioned it being very cool down where the bowlers are playing. Normally it's very hot. That usually makes your hand swell up. Here being cool, it has a tendency to make your hand go down as you bowl. So then you might start to squeeze the ball a little bit more.
And you better have some pieces of tape prepared.
You bet. We saw Lori Nichols just rip that right off her glove last week and apply a piece of tape. Handy.
Sure.
As
Great
it
tip.
was.
Mm-hmm. Got to plan ahead, right?
That's right. I've seen a lot of players also put them on their shoes. Have them all prepared.
I used to put mine on my forehead.
You know, I think I believe you.
It was transparent. Just kidding. Oh, my. Excellent shot in the 5th. You know, there she said, if I do what I'm supposed to do, I get a pretty good reaction. And I think what I like about this type of condition, Leila, is the fact that you got a flat go out there and bowl. Now, if you throw the right shot with the right ball, you hit the pocket, and it doesn't mean you're going to strike. But if you don't execute, you got problems.
Well, that's where Tish said, you know, she constantly had to think about what she's doing because it was not exactly her natural game to point the ball. So she had to really concentrate on doing the same thing every time. And when she didn't do it, she didn't strike.
And hits the pocket this time on the right-hand lane. So that's progress in itself, but she leaves the half-10.
This is really one of the reasons Leanne Barrette is the only right-hander and can prevail because of the amount of revolution she gets on the ball. She's able to get the ball back when she swings it way out in the lanes. She can open up the lane so much more than any of the other right-handed players.
Spare up now in the 5th, but still trailing by 23.
Leanne Barrette with that 4-step approach still has a little bit of a crooked walk. She's been trying to straighten out that swing. Very quick release there. Extremely low at the line. Excellent form.
Really accelerates through the hitting area. Whew. She grabs a handful of that ball and then really lets it go at the line.
Well, it helps having the size of hand. You know, Leanne is a very tall lady and has quite a large hand for a female, and as Lisa Wagner does. And when you have that large of a hand, you're able to get around a bowling ball and you can turn it more.
So the left-hand lane becoming a possibility for Leanne now. She must solve the puzzle on lane 20. Meanwhile, she trails by 23, and Tish is working on a strike. Set it down short. I'll be lucky to hit the head pin. Once again, she looks down at the thumb, so there's some kind of a problem there.
Appears as if she lost the ball. Like you said, she set it down short and just sailed it. Her timing appears she got a little bit fast. She's trying to tell herself to slow down. And that's also what happens when you get a little bit too quick. You're there ahead of the ball and you're not able to get through and hit it.
So timing also has a lot to do with how clean you get out of the bowling ball.
Oh, you bet. Timing's pretty much, that would be your first point of why you would get out of the bowling ball, clean or not clean. Your second point would be as if you've got the good feel, the tape, or if it's a good fit.